Welcome everybody. There we are, a new Flower Circus Talks. And today we have a very special guest, a man with a lot of talents. I mean, if it grows, he makes something nice with it. Flowers, trees, plants, everything. So I'm really pleased to have him today in the Flower Circus Talks. So without further ado, let's quickly get Keith Lin into the live stream. Welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Yeah, I mean, I already said if it grows, you make something really beautiful out of it. I mean, I've seen some of your work, and hopefully live I will see more after the pandemic as well. I mean,
Yes, definitely.
it's amazing, and people today, it's not only about flowers and plants, it's also, I think, a travel episode where we're gonna explain you where to travel next because we've got some great places to show you today. And if you have any questions for Keith, please ask them in the comments so we can talk about it as well. Keith, I think we need to start with the beginning because you don't uh, just went into the flower business just by going to a school or a university. Can you explain me a bit? How did you end up in the flower industry?
So I kind of started off in the life science. So my background is in life sciences. So I did
Yeah.
my studies in the life science, but I've always interested in flowers and plants and horticulture. So after I graduated, I did a big switch. I joined the National Parks Board, and I was with the Botanic Gardens working on horticultures, and that's where all my flowers started.
Yeah.
So we were working with a lot of interesting trees, collections, and species. So we are maintaining. I started off my first few years with the National Orchid Garden doing the orchid display, taking care of the orchid plants. After
Yeah.
that, I moved on to the main part of the garden where I was taking care of the collections nearer to the Orchard Road area. So we kind of divide the gardens into a few parts. So I was with that, and then we got really exposed to the big, exciting part of the flower world where we did the Singapore Garden Festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was when everything just went kaboom. I just have to do it.
Yeah. Oh, great. We've got Alison in already saying, Keith, darling, so good to see you with our John Elstgeest. Big hugs. So great, Alison is in as well. I think you have a great story about how you met Alison as well.
Yes, I actually met her during the garden festival. I was a steward for her. She was the chief judge during that time, so I
Yeah.
was very lucky. During the festival, I was steward to her and all the judges, so I got to listen to the behind the scenes, all the interesting stories how they judge. I can't say anything. I'm going to go this,
Yeah.
but yeah. So that was really a very very amazing experience working with all the different judges and seeing how their different views, how they have their different opinions, what worked, what didn't, and why after that when they had the debrief with the designers, they had their sharing session and they
Yeah.
would share with the designers would kind of do their feedback, and it was a sometimes there was the ongoing conversation helped everyone to grow in many many ways. So that was really really helpful for me
Yeah.
when I make my final decision that hey, this is what I want to go. And meeting Alison was the best thing in my life.
I mean, Alison, I think that's a huge compliment coming your way. So you can open a bottle of champagne already.
Yes, she's missing her champagne.
So yeah, without any, or of course you have an education, but the floral education, you already said learning from judges. But where did you get all the information and how did you roll into getting more knowledge and or was it a lot of trial and error?
Yes, there was definitely a lot of trial error. I had to figure out a lot of things for myself. I had to do a lot of test trials, buy different materials to work with them to understand the materials. And sometimes I was very lucky. I had friends around me who would comment and critique my work. I was like, hey, this is really ugly. This should be longer. There should be more space. And of course, books were my best friend. I ordered a lot of different books, went to the library, went to exhibitions whenever there was a designer who did an exhibition, whether it be online or a session. I really went down to attend the workshops and really pay attention to what they were saying, what works, what wasn't, how flowers should be prepared, what you do with the floral foam, and so on. So that was it was a very steep curve and a lot of failures along the way, but that definitely helped me to be where I am today.
Yeah, and I mean, Alison is already saying, but my proudest moment was when he went to win a major award at the Garden Festival. It was a full circle for me. I mean, but that's great. Just rolling into the Garden Festival and helping out the judges, and then later winning there as well. I mean, that makes it's a story for in a boy's book, I can say.
Yeah, it's yeah.
I mean, and we will show some of the pictures of the Garden Festival as well later, as well as the other beautiful park that there is in Singapore. But before that, you have already been traveling pre-COVID, of course, all over the world to show your designs as well.
Yes.
So I want to show some of the designs, and maybe you can share some of your thoughts or what you were making there.
This is when I was in the Chelsea Flower Show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, let me see. I'm terrible with the years. I'm really, really terrible with years. So that was in 2017.
Yeah.
So that was when I took a really big chance. I said, hey, let's go to the Chelsea Flower Show. That by then I've left my government service. So
Yeah.
I was in the private sector. We said, hey, let's do it. So we went there. It was a pedestal piece. It was a solo piece. We did it overnight. Built this from scratch. Did the trials in Singapore. Separated the whole piece. Lost count of the amount of bamboo I have to retwine back and rewire back overnight. Didn't sleep for 2 nights. Tried to fit the whole structure behind a grab car. So yeah, so it was a very good experience, and it was a real surprise because at the debrief session, we actually found out that not just did I manage to get a gold award, I was one of the 2 who were running to be the best of show for that category. So for that session, I think it was a session 2. So it was really, really, really amazing. So this whole piece was inspired by the life and the possibilities in life. So
Yeah.
from the bottom at the end of the tail, so it's kind of like a small bumpy journey. It starts with a lot of buds, a lot of leaves, and it goes into flowers, and eventually it blooms off into the center. And it's more like white was used as a center. Blues and grays and browns were more like the little bumps in life. When you're traveling along the flower journey, and then eventually get to this big, pure white dahlia blooms of possibility. Everything is possible. Everything is white. So that's how this whole piece was inspired by.
It's unbelievable. It's really beautiful, and traveling all over the world and putting it back together, not sleeping for 2 nights, and then, and then being a prize winner. I mean, that's such a great reward of making such beautiful thing. And then Alison agrees there. She said it's not easy to win a gold at the Chelsea Flower Show. And I mean,
It's not. It wasn't something in my mind. All I had in mind was like, let's just finish the piece. I'm not gonna go for anything. Going to the flower market every morning, and it's like, oh, I want this flower, and then telling myself, do you want to get it now because you're not going to see it tomorrow? So I went to the market early in the morning, 6 a.m. And then I went through every store. I was like buying for 3 days. It was crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, that's also flower business. I mean, you have to travel all over the world and do what the local circumstances give you. I mean, you don't know which flowers are there, and maybe tomorrow on the market there's something different and the whole idea changes.
Yes, definitely. It's like you have a pre-plan of what flowers you want to use, and you go there and it's like, oh, I don't have it. This is not what I kind of expected. And what you expect that you will usually see on home ground that's perfect may not look as nice or as big as what you want. And then you go, hey, there's something even better. Let's use it. So it's really exciting being overseas and looking at what the local growers are able to produce at their homeland, and you will be very surprised. It's like they had many things that was grown in the UK. They had things that flew in from all over the world. It was really amazing. It's like pot plants, trees, cut flowers, cut foliage, preserve things. Oh my God, it was just amazing. It was quite that experience.
Yeah, and also if you travel a lot and you were traveling a lot, you see that the stuff you could get locally and was really fresh, and then you travel to the other side of the world, maybe not aware that in the belly of the plane are your local flowers flying with you, and then you open those boxes or you see them at the flower market and you think they're not as fresh as I'm used to, but
Yes.
yeah, I mean they'd be flying with you as well. So,
Yeah,
but on the
definitely.
but on the other hand, you get some other local products which look way better than you're used to. So that makes it really nice as well, and to use those flowers.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the whole flower designing and the designing what you do brings you to a lot of great places. Got to hear another picture. Do you know where it is? Do you still remember?
Yes, I was in Japan, Bosch.
Yeah.
Yes, that was another amazing experience. Beautiful, beautiful place. We had a lot of fun. Almost got a typhoon. We were very lucky this round. The typhoon didn't blow in,
Okay.
and we worked with very interesting materials. Same thing. Pre-ordered some things. Went to the flower market. This round, not so much at the flower market, but the hardware shop. I went to the garden center to get various pot arrangements. So this is
Yeah.
like a growing tree, a bonsai tree. That this material that I use is actually the vine. It's a veneer that actually
Mhm.
use on furniture.
Okay.
So I use a lot of the veneer, and I kind of like turned that into this floating structure, and it kind of like grew into a tree. And then we had a lot of test tubes bounded with a gold bullion wire and individual flowers inside.
It's also beautiful. And what I already see with just the two things that we show, you work with a lot of different materials. It seems that you're not stick to one thing, or like the veneer. You like the veneer and you go with the veneer for many years, but you keep on changing.
Yes, I like to experiment with different things. I think it's good to uh, work with different materials and don't just stick to one, because
Yeah.
you never know which will work. And it's also good that in every work that you work with, a different material lets you fully understand how far you can stretch the material. And eventually, you don't know that one day perhaps it might not all just be wood. It could be a wood with something else, or wood, or just wood that doesn't appear to behave like wood. So I think that is the fun part about floristry. Never restrict yourself to one material, because you never know what you're going to be able to produce.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you said, traveling somewhere and not knowing which flowers you can get, although there are pre-orders, maybe you don't get the flowers, but also the materials. Of course, you can bring some materials, but yeah, you have to find some things locally as well. And,
Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
and I mean, yeah, directly changing to something else, also again, different materials.
This is a lot of test tubes. So this piece is at the Singapore Garden Festival. So
Yeah,
this is about connections. So I blacked out the whole space, and each test tube. Same thing, we bounded in gold, because in our culture, gold is a very precious matter.
yeah,
So I thought, so possibilities is a very connections and possibilities are very important aspects of life. So gold was the best choice of material to represent this aspect of it. And we use a lot of very brightly colored flowers that we flew in from Holland. And so there were this spiral that's going out, a little bit inspired by the supernova. The center circle is pure white with some local flowers, and a lot of temperate flowers, because it's like I was put it this way: you don't have a lot of opportunities in Singapore to work with very exotic European flowers. So
yeah.
we have nerines and gloriosas. What other? Let's see. There were a lot of. I think there was Asclepias inside also. So each test tube have
Yeah,
about one or two types of flowers. So I think there was a very good opportunity to showcase to local Singaporeans what are the various options and how beautiful the flower world can be. And it's not just tropical flowers, but also overseas flowers. If you don't get to travel, this is the best time. You get to see all the flowers from around the world.
yeah, yeah. It really is. And here we can see you working on the piece as well.
Yes, BC spraying. Can I
Yeah,
mention floral life?
yeah. Of course you can.
Yeah, so we had to preserve the flower. It was in the tentage area, so the environment kind of fluctuates a lot. So you really need
Yeah,
a good. It was in a special floral jar from Japan. So this kind of while the flowers were growing inside this, I didn't use water, so it was a gel for these flowers, and then
okay.
this spray actually helped to keep the flowers last a lot longer within the environment.
Yeah. And how long did the whole arrangement stay there?
I only had to do one change, so the
Okay.
flowers really lasted really long. I think the whole festival is about 9 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And this did you win a prize with this arrangement?
Yes, I got a bronze in the Singapore Garden Festival.
Okay. It looks beautiful, and like I said to you before, we've been talking to Leon Kluge as well, who was in the festival. I mean,
Yeah,
do you already know when the next festival is, so we can book our tickets?
we are waiting for you know what to kind of go away.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be last year, then it kind of got postponed to this year. But we're still not too sure on the situation. But they are working on many multiple smaller garden shows within Singapore, but we can't really do a big one at the moment. So we're waiting for good news. So
Yeah.
hopefully we shall see something either the end of this year or maybe next year.
I mean, that would be great. I mean, for the people, just look at our YouTube page and subscribe as well while you're there. Then you can find the interview with Leon as well. And then you can see his creations, what he made during the festival as well there. I mean, it must be great to walk there. I don't know how many days I would walk there, but it's
Alison has the behind the scenes. There are plans, but it's not announced.
yeah. uh, yeah, Alison. Let's hope, but yeah, we're not. We agreed on not saying the word that we mentioned too many times already. So
Yeah.
let's hope we all meet there, Alison. I mean, and see more of those creations that we see now. I mean, Keith, this is really unbelievable how beautiful this one is. I mean, this is real art.
It was a very back-breaking experience, but it was worth it. It was worth it. We were going up and down the tubes, up and down, up and down. And I was like, and then you go back to the first one again. It's like, oh no, it's not in the correct position. And you go up and down the ladder.
Uh, yeah, sometimes you think of something and you think, oh, this is going to be great, but you don't directly think of the amount of work that's behind it.
Yes, I underestimated it.
Yeah, and then yeah, sleep we can always do later.
Yes.
Oh, but yeah, I think it was worth it. And if you finish the piece and once the festival is running, are you there as well just to see the reactions of the people or?
Yeah, I pop in once in a while just to
Yeah,
see, and it's very encouraging. I'll put it as a designer when you see people stopping in front of your works, young kids, parents, older folks, and they really stop there to just take in everything. I think that as a designer, it tells you that you succeeded, and
yeah,
I think even if there's critique, that is still positive critique because you don't always you can love everything, but you kind of have to understand why people don't like something, and you kind of like weigh it as a designer, and you weigh it yourself. Like, is it going to help you? If it's not going to help you, it goes out this way.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean also like you said before with the jury, not only saying okay, these are your points, but also some positive critics. Okay, this is why we gave you these points, and this
Yes.
can be improved. I mean, we need to get forward, all of us. So that's why, yeah, good critics are great. I mean,
Yeah, it helps everybody. It's like you don't care really who gives you all the critique, but
yeah.
it helps. Ah, jellyfish.
I mean, I really love the way you play with flowers, plants, and greens. And I mean, there are you're not only playing with the flowers, but all the senses that people have. I mean, you look at it, you talk about it, you smell it, you feel it. I mean, I think that's what it's all about. Flowers are more than just beauty.
Yes, definitely. It's very important to me to bring on the emotions because this is at the Floral Fantasy Dome at Gardens by the Bay. So
Yeah,
Gardens by the Bay, you kind of have the impression of by the bay. So I thought, hey, why not under the sea? So I did this piece with preserved flowers, and it kind of I created this aquarium under the sea look where you could kind of sit and pose with the photo where jellyfish kind of fly around you.
yeah,
So we did this with preserved hydrangeas, rose, garden rose, and I think there were a few other items inside. So this is the entire piece, and we harvested humongous palm leaves.
yeah. I
I
can see.
I was glitter man for a few weeks, sprayed all the glitter on everything, so everything was all sparkly and magical. So I think this is I tried to create this experience, and it really like when you go into the flower fantasy, they had very interesting flower balls that went up and down. So these jellyfishes are still there floating up and down on the moving mechanism. So I think this aspect of a childlike fantasy and imagination is very important in floristry, that you don't just smell the flowers, you feel the flowers, and where you cannot feel the flowers, hey, let it play with your mind.
Yeah. So actually, the construction was also moving, or the jellyfish were also moving.
Not in this photo, but
Okay.
in another area of the garden where they shifted it to, they had this motorized mechanism that went up and down. So it really works with the jellyfish. So you see this
Wow.
bobbing jellyfish that goes up, down, up, down. Is really, really fun. It really gave life because I didn't kind of like just put the jellyfish like just all looking upwards. I tilted it at an angle, so it really
Yeah.
appeared like they just got stuck swimming there and they just froze.
I mean, that's really cool. I mean, this is
I,
how you create a attraction park with flowers. I mean, this is
yeah,
this is something great for everybody to see.
yes, I really tried to create a lot of movement, not just with the floral materials, but with the mechanisms also. So this I did this floral motif wiring mechanism to make the body of the jellyfish, and then
Yeah,
it kind of like when the jellyfish opens up, so it open up with all the hydrangeas, and then the tentacles kind of they just float in the middle, float away with a lot of this colored asparagus wedding fern, and they just kind of just disappear. And I try to put it as long as I can without the whole thing sagging down.
yeah.
So I really tease the material to, that's the maximum it's going to go. If not, it's going to look really, really saggy.
Yeah, but I mean, it's beautiful. Maya is also saying, proud of your achievements as a fellow Singaporean. Very beautiful works. And we haven't seen everything yet because we have so much more to show. I mean, it's unbelievable what you did there, and with all the glitters and everything, it's really really beautiful.
Yes.
It's unbelievable, and this is year round. You can visit this, right? Or how do you see
Uh,
this park? You can visit
yes,
year
the
round.
Flower Fantasy Dome is year round. Is open. It's still open, I believe. I don't think we have closed it during the COVID yet. I believe they are still open. But
Yeah,
this exhibition has it did it run over to the Lunar New Year, which is in January last year. So this is an artist. They have a feature artist, so this feature piece has ended. But we are still very lucky in that sense. Uh, they kept the jellyfishes,
yeah.
so they are
Okay.
still bobbing there. They're definitely still bobbing there. So you can still catch the jellyfishes there. They did a touch up with more flowers, so it's even more colorful right now, and it's still
Yeah.
going up and up and down.
I mean, but that's I mean a great honor as well. You had your fixed period there probably at
Yes.
the gardens, and now they're still using your work.
Yes,
Uh,
it's a real honor honestly
Yeah,
as a designer.
I mean,
It's not something you get every day.
unbelievable. I mean, and yeah, you can see everybody loves your work. And there's some other side project you did. let's call it a little side project. I mean, when I told I was going to do an interview with you, one of my employees was jumping up and down because she was so happy. She said, "Wow, I've been there and I've been walking there, and it was a pity that I had to get on the plane again." I mean, and probably that's the reaction of a lot of people because, yeah, take us through what I'm talking about. What was the other project you did?
At a very big the Jewel.
I mean, it's Singapore Airport. When did it open?
It's opened a few years back.
Let me see. I think we've got it here. The official opening ceremony,
Yeah.
October 2019.
Yes, correct.
So, from which part or when did you get involved into the project?
We were there when they were still building. So about 2 years before that, we were already involved with the project. They opened up a tender inviting local design. It was a local tender for the Petal Garden, which is on the topmost level of Jewel Changi Airport.
Yeah.
So it was a small garden in the ticketed area, and we had to present our concept for four designs, and it was a very big fight among a lot of very very amazing tenderers, and they loved my design. So we were very blessed. We got it.
Yeah.
And so we went in. They were still building that thing. We had to work very closely with their horticulture team, with their management and their senior management, all the way up to the CEO. Do a lot of presentation. So we got to see it when it was still in construction phases, but
Yeah.
it was not. It was really raw. It was when they were closing up everything. The trees were all in, and we went down to their tree nursery. Amazing. They had lots of trees, lots of palms, all stored up, ready to be put in, and we had to work. We had to do a bit more technical things like where the electrical box, how big the electrical box was going to be, where the
Yeah.
water points are going to be, so that the gardeners don't have to walk inside the landscape to water things. So that was when we moved in, and when they did the big opening, the garden was already running for a while. So
Yeah.
this is summer design. Sorry, we started off. We were supposed to open in spring, then we
Okay.
opened in summer. This is the autumn. So this was summer going into autumn. So all the planting scape started moving towards. We brought in a lot of chrysanthemums,
Yeah.
darker pink hydrangeas, a lot of guzmanias. We changed our phalaenopsis. Each tree had about 200 over phalaenopsis, I remember. So we worked with it was like a seasonal change. You only could change after 11, 12 when they closed.
Yeah.
So the trees were like going into autumn. Pink started turning into orange turning into purple. It was very hilarious. It's like as if autumn was merging in. Then at
Yeah.
night, you had the music from the fountain. We had this changing lights on the arches that was inspired by the national orchid. So we kind of like we draw our inspiration from the venations of the national flower,
Yeah.
and that was the arch. So this is the two half arches. We have a full arch, and everything is all. And there's a small little stream that's kind of bubbling bubbling throughout the whole landscape. So it's a very narrow garden design. So we really had to work to make it stretch, to make you feel as if it's not just one straight line. So there was a lot of hidden corners, and it was to give this impression that not just the adults could enjoy the garden, the kids, the older folks. There were chairs for them to sit on. So many families came down to do their family shoots, portraits. Everybody was taking Instagram shots. The colors were subtly changing at night, and when the garden is at night, it's really amazing. You could sit there for hours, enjoy the aircon, and it's very magical with the background music.
Yeah.
Everything it's amazing. It's a sensory orgasm.
Yeah, and again, it's more like not only the beauty, but the music, and of course the fragrance as well of the flowers and
Yes.
plants which are there. I mean, it's it's unbelievable what you put together there. I mean, it's so beautiful. You can even see some statues there as well.
Yeah, this is spring. So it was the year when
Okay.
the Chinese zodiac year, the year of the rat. So
Yeah.
we did this rat mascots, and we had
Okay.
it. It's like this pinkish purple. So this was a very classic design. So it during the Lunar New Year we have this oversized, very auspicious four-season lime in the display. So these are the pillars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this family of mice inside with all their floral petal skirts inside the flower landscape, and you can see the LED butterflies flying through the landscape. And during Valentine's Day, we had it all changed to cherry blossoms. So we brought in cherry blossom trees, but I couldn't find the photo, so I
Okay.
only had the oranges.
I mean, you must be so lucky if you live in Singapore and you have to go to the airport. I think you can go 2 days before you have to leave and walk through the gardens. I mean, this is unbelievable, and it is changing every season as well. And even with the holidays, you change it.
Yeah, we had four designs, so we went into winter too. So winter was pure. Yeah, this is another very cute mice family.
Yeah, I mean, it's
We make sure
unbelievable.
every single mice was at a different color code.
Yeah, and yeah, we're hopping from one season into another, and not in a logical order. But I didn't think it matters because it's so beautiful to see what we have here.
Yeah, this is winter. So that year it coincided with the movie Frozen.
Yeah,
So Elsa was there and all. So we had these Ponsetti Christmas trees. I had
yeah,
six of them. So this is a hidden metal structure that we put in potted plants, and we lit it up. So the tallest one was about almost 3, I think it was 3.5 meters. It almost went all the, we maximized the height to almost touch the ceiling. So it gives you the sense of, uh, it really make you look up, and it's like you don't feel like you're kind of like put down by the ceiling, even though the ceiling is quite high. So we
yeah.
really want to bring that dimension of the height.
Yeah, here we can see the height more. I think it's
Yeah.
wow, it's
Then
really
Santa Claus was inside this igloo.
okay.
Very magical, very magical.
I mean, it's unbelievable, and like you said, there was yeah the frozen part there as well with
Yeah, we had a sledge inside, and they put in artificial snow. We brought in some miniature Christmas trees, not the real Christmas trees, but after that, I think they had the second winter display that they did themselves. They had
yeah.
live Christmas trees with a lot of lights. It was also a very magical experience.
Yeah, and I mean it's really nice in daytime, but nighttime, I mean, it looks magical as well.
Yes, we kept to white and blue, so it was very soothing. It was, I find that in the design it's very important to really make that not just in terms of the plants that are used, but also in terms of the color to really differentiate everything. So we kept it to very lilac, very cool tones of silver, blues, light purples, and a lot of white. And the pink was very washed out pastel pink.
Yeah, I mean it's I can imagine how much joy it gives for people to have a stopover or to fly to Singapore and see all of this. And I mean, the nice thing is, if you don't have a lot of time, you can still see it, right? Because there's a special shuttle or a train going
Yes,
through.
there's a shuttle that goes through the terminal. So it's for the passengers who are they transiting between terminals and they can't get off. They don't have time to get off, so they can take the monorail within the display, and they can go through and get a glimpse of it. I mean, they won't be able to see the Petal Garden, but they can really go through and enjoy the majestic waterfall, the Shiseido Forest Valley. It's yeah, it's quite quite
Yeah,
quite a
really. And
yeah, very
then
brilliant.
yeah, the waterfall. I don't have a picture of the waterfall or a video, but if you Google it, you will see it. It's a beautiful waterfall, and there's been a lot of television shows as well about how they built the waterfall as well, because it was on Discovery Channel. I've seen the special there. It's not only the flowers and the plants, but it's a huge project to build all this. I mean, it's unbelievable to see all those it's flowers, plants. I mean, all your senses. Here we can see. Let me hide myself because
This
then we
is
can.
the opening ceremony. So the space that's at the bottom is where the waterfall. They switched it off for the event. They had a very special opening song for this ceremony. So
Yeah,
the dancing lights and the backdrop where you see all the trees. That is the valley of the. I think this is about maybe 3 or 4 levels, or maybe even 5 levels of trees that's going all the way up to create this valley effect. And you can actually walk from level 1 all the way up to the topmost floor. It's really amazing.
wow. It's
Yeah.
and
It's,
and
it's, it's a very amazing project. You could get lost in this place. You don't need to go out. There's shopping, there's a hotel inside. You're spoiled for choice for food. You can do a massage inside.
everything's possible. I mean, you don't even have to leave, like you said.
You can live there. You don't have to leave.
Yeah. It's really again unbelievable how it looks. I mean, I think we still have the summer to go, and hopefully this is the summer I'm showing at the moment.
Yes, this is the summer design. We brought in light pink phalaenopsis. We mixed in the local mucaras, so we had to. I think it's well, with Singapore, the orchid is the national flower, so we slipped in a few types of orchids inside the display. So we
Yeah,
kind of like we kept it local, but we brought in different plants from around the world. Some were grown in Singapore, especially grown for this project. So they brought in different things, and then there was a lot of special plants, bulk plants that we brought in: amaryllis, liatris, cyclamens, tulips, hyacinths.
okay.
So when everything blew, everyone was like, "Oh my God, there's narcissus, there's hyacinths."
I mean, it's beautiful to have them as well, of course. It's and yeah, I'm checking all those pictures, and I try to find some tulips or hyacinths, but we've got so many beautiful pictures in. So, but how did you come up with the idea of making the trees with the phalaenopsis hanging down?
We wanted to create this. The design was it was really not just to have every corner as an Instagram worthy spot. So whether you look up, you look down, you look left, you look right, you squat at any corner, we really wanted it to be Instagram worthy. So social media is kind of the in thing right now. So we really want you to be able to capture even with the phalaenopsis tree. So we wanted to create this. We didn't want to put another tree inside. So we thought, hey, why not? Let's design an oversized, natural looking tree with man-made vines going up it and a lot of orchids inverted orchids coming down. So it looks like a cherry blossom tree that has blooms that's kind of suspended.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you could just stand under it and do a up shot. And each we I was a little bit naughty in that sense. I make sure that everything spiraled in one direction.
yeah.
They almost killed me for it because they had 6 trees inside. I was like, from this entrance, you have to spiral in this direction. From the other entrance, you have to spiral in from another direction. So everything met in the center. So they were like, why? I said, no, it makes a difference because when you walk in, you want the orchids to subtly lead you in with the way they spiral. And when you walk into the end and from the other side, even though it's not the correct direction to walk in because the whole area moves in one direction, but people do walk in from the other direction. So you don't want the flowers to subtly, unconsciously chase you out. So you want them to bring you in by going inwards towards the garden.
I mean, during our shows, I'm sometimes telling that flowers have a face, and that they can
Yes,
look at you like roses. They grow towards the sun, so there's always a front and a back on flowers.
yes, definitely.
Uh,
We are always told to do that.
yeah, but even on such a big scale, it works, or it may probably even works better on such a big scale.
Yes, the placements of flowers and plants is very important. So even not it's not all the time that we plant things straight up. Even in this very simple display, we had to mount up to create the height so that
Yeah.
the plants appear taller than they are. And at the edges, we didn't actually put the plants straight upright. We actually had to tilt it upwards. So when they bloom in the display, they will naturally cascade over the edges. So actually in this photo, you really don't see the tall plastic aging that we put along the sides to prevent people from accidentally walking in. So it was so inviting. I think it was a real success because everybody kind of like, there were a lot of people who walked into the landscape.
Yeah.
It was very funny.
I mean, yeah, but that's a great compliment that it's so inviting to get into the gardens. And of course, hopefully they don't destroy anything. But a bigger compliment I think you can't get. And uh, what I think is not funny, but in a way that you were already thinking about, okay, how are people going to show this on Instagram, or how can we use the Instagram uh, in this so people will make nice pictures and tell about it, and uh, in a way how they can show the garden in the best way. So that's quite interesting how you think about that already with your design as well.
Yeah, so in this, what they did with the publicity team was they did a lot of hashtag and they had competitions to take photos, not just in the Petal Garden, but also in the entire Jewel.
Yeah,
So it's very important to work with the correct hashtag, and the marketing team will do all these other competitions. And you can see with the correct hashtag, it really brings a lot of attention. I mean, yeah, definitely this place is really very spectacular, but every additional interest, every additional social media account really brings a lot more positive attention and needed attention to this place, because there are people who really don't have time to come down. But hey, you never know. It's a big, in a way, we can say it's a big oversized departmental store. So the the attraction and the attention that you bring to this place, it spins off to everybody who's involved with this project.
yeah,
It spins off to the departmental stores, it spins off to the designers, the electricians. You never know who's going to benefit from this whole exercise. Yeah.
yeah. Lenny is joining as well. Hi, Lenny. She
Hi,
said a
Lenny.
lot of talent right there. I mean, Lenny, I think you also need to fly to Singapore to see all this beauty because it's unbelievable. Uh,
Yes, everybody should visit. It's
yeah,
amazing.
but it's so nice to see that it's such a big project. But thinking about using the right hashtag, I mean, for florists, I think that's a good thing as well. While having a wedding, but also in your own shop, or when you're doing a wedding or another type of event, go around and take selfies and see if the flowers look right, and things like that, because that's what people are doing at the moment.
Yes, definitely. That's what I do. Like, I find it's very important to, uh, when especially during weddings, is to whip up when you, in fact, not just for weddings, any display that you do with flowers, you have to take out your camera, because that is, unfortunately, that's what most of the time everybody's going to do. They'll capture everything with their handphone, and if it doesn't look good in photos, something needs to be moved.
Yeah,
And the magic can happen much later, because the photo tells 1,000 words. How you create the depth within your arrangement, the smell, the flowers you use, and then things jumping around that doesn't appear in the photo, the subtle details, it's really for whoever who's coming to that event to
yeah,
enjoy for themselves. And that is something that even videos can't really help you sometimes.
yeah.
So that is the additional part that only you can bring as a designer to to the client.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a big difference what the eye sees and what the camera sees? If you think,
Yes.
okay, by eye, now it looks great, and then you go around with your camera, there are a lot of adjustments, or is it just final details?
I would say there are finer details, but sometimes the camera is very flat. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, there are times that what looks good and you need it to look that way and to place that way doesn't really do any justice to the arrangement when you take a photo. So you have to make that sacrifice to move that flower to another position where on the photo it looks fantastic, but definitely that's not something we'll do for a competition, because it just doesn't work that way, because you are
Yeah.
being judged live, and the photo is not going to do any justice. But well, if it's a commercial work, photo work, photo is
Yeah.
very important, especially during weddings. You want every single flower that the client spends on to work in their photo and to
Yeah.
be seen in a photo.
I mean, yeah, that's yeah. A picture doesn't lie, they say.
Yes, definitely.
And like you said, unfortunately, you can't give all the other senses. They're not in the picture, so that needs yeah, it needs to be picture perfect.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, and I think what I learned is use more of all the senses with the flowers, but also use some sound, use lights, more things to get it more alive. I think flowers by themselves are already beautiful, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. The correct lighting helps a lot. Well, I would say there's two camps. There's the camp that says that no, you shouldn't use colored lights on flowers,
yeah,
uh, especially fresh cut flowers where you're supposed to present them in their actual colors and where they look best at. But when it depends on what you want to achieve. You're trying to achieve theater, trying to achieve drama. Yes, the light helps, but just have a moment where it goes back to a soft, warm
yeah,
white. So you do enjoy the flower at their true natural beauty, but don't go daylight. Depends on how you use it. What the daylight when it washes out everything in white, you have to be very careful about your distance because if not, everything's just going to be like all
yeah.
flat.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think there are way more things than we. You are already working on it, but light and sound and everything can play such a big role in how we experience things. So also flowers. So flowers already gives us a lot of joy,
Yes.
but we can even boost that effect with all other senses.
Yes, definitely. I
And I
agree.
think you're a master on that one. So that's why I'm really happy that you're in the show.
I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I still have a long way to go, so it's still a lot of trial and errors.
Yeah, but I mean, then we still do, or we will do another show, and then you will show what you come up with that time. I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's always a learning curve, and also the flowers are changing, the plants are changing all the time with new varieties, new shapes, all those things. But just talking about things changing, uh, what can you see in terms of trends at the moment in Singapore? What
Um,
trends are there at the moment?
I think there is a slight trend leaning towards preserved flowers.
Yeah,
I mean, much as I love fresh flowers, I think it's very important to have something fresh in the house. It's but the younger generation they tend to lean a bit towards preserve because it's easier to maintain first one thing and
yeah,
it lasts for a while. But it depends on what you want to achieve and locally we because we are so used to tropical flowers we still love what we can't get which is all the European flowers.
yeah, and the other way around.
I mean we breed a lot of orchids but we don't really use a lot of orchids locally. We sleep in one or two but
Yeah,
it will take a while. I think it's like a fashion trend. It will take a few years. It come back again, and you never know. You know, some things that now carnations are coming back, chrysanthemums are coming back.
okay.
Traditionally, in the local Chinese culture,
Yeah,
chrysanthemums we generally keep it for the funerals. But
yeah,
nowadays, there's so many new colors that's coming up. People are using chrysanthemums in the arrangements in their bouquets, the spray mums, the big mums, and people are moving away from roses. They are asking for smell. They're asking for garden roses. Peony
okay.
is always a hit because it's
Yeah,
so beautiful, but it doesn't. Unfortunately, it just melts very quickly over here. But
yeah,
we love peonies. We love hydrangeas, tulips. Whenever we have it, we are so spoiled right now that we have tulips all year round.
yeah. I mean, that's great, and peonies are available all year round as well now. So I
Yeah, yeah,
mean, that's great. Of course, sometimes it's nice to have something really seasonal, but with weddings and with Instagram and Pinterest and brides or future brides seeing a bouquet with peonies and they say, I want it, but my wedding is in February, and they've got no clue that there are normally there weren't any peonies, but now at least you can get them.
yes, definitely. And foliage, a lot of different foliage are coming into play now.
Yeah,
I would say a lot of audiences are embracing foliage. and they are not just stuck on the traditional usual foliage, and they are very willing to experiment. So having leaves in the arrangement is something that's coming up gradually, and you can see more and more florists using more and more different type of leaves inside the
Okay.
arrangement, not just the tradition. Usually we see a lot of eucalyptus because one thing, it lasts a long time, but now we
Yeah.
are seeing people slipping in different type of leaves, palm leaves, ivies, and a lot of different magnolias. So a lot of leaves are coming to Singapore. So we really see very interesting ways that everybody's using things.
Yeah. I mean, that's great. And what about plants? Is there something going on in plants as well, or?
It is very funny. Is during the COVID period, suddenly everybody turned into a farmer. Everybody turned into a landscaper. So I think everybody got bored at home.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of houseplants become very popular. Monsteras are hit. Anything with variegation is a must-have. It's like the go-to right now. And
Yeah.
miniature plants, everybody's growing something. It's either you can eat it or you can keep it. And yes, and things that used to be like really at a reasonable price, they have skyrocketed. It's so interesting. It's like watching shares.
Okay, it's unbelievable. And is it also because in Europe there's a trend as well with some special plants, so variegated or Monstera variegated? I mean, that's
Yes.
something to get a hold of. That one is like having gold in your hands
Yes,
at
yes,
the
yes,
moment.
definitely. The Asian, I see the variegated trend is growing. It's getting very strong right now. Everybody's buying something variegated. It's very funny. I mean, if it's a stable variegation, definitely. But
Yeah.
we can see more and more variegated stuff are coming up, and everybody must have it. We have variegated limes, variegated
Okay.
syngoniums, variegated orchids, variegated hydrangeas. So many things. Whatever they can get a variegation on it, it's out there right now.
Okay. So the variegated tulips must be a real hit if they're there. They are there, so it's just small quantities, but at least they're there.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Wow. Great. I mean, Keith, it's great talking to you. I mean, we have seen so many things of your great work. Uh, it's fantastic. I mean, to see all the talent just in one person, it's unbelievable.
But I don't think I'm that wonderful yet.
No, but I mean, already what you're doing now, and you can already see improvement in yourself, or probably you already have tons of ideas in your head to make new things. I mean. I think everybody who's watching and myself as well. I mean, I will be glad to speak to you soon as well after you finished one of your new projects to see, yeah, what you made this time and with what kind of material as well, because you're changing all the time, which makes it really interesting to follow you.
Yes, I hope so. I'm trying to keep. I hope I have a few more exciting projects out here. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, soon we will see you again and hopefully in person as well. And then we can have a drink and discuss all the wonderful things you're making or you made and you were going to make as well.
Yes, I
So,
will be looking forward to have you in Singapore, or hopefully I can fly to Holland soon.
yeah. So anyway, we will meet if it's in Holland or Singapore. Let's find out, but for sure we will meet. And I would like to thank you for your time, Keith, to explain everything, to show us everything, and share all the information with us.
Thank you for having
So
me.
yeah, thank you very much, and everybody who was watching, thank you as well for watching, and hope to see you next week. Stay safe. Thank you.
All right.